this is actually very simple. If you can't find any module on make.com or on anything, you can be rest assured that there is a universal connector that could let you create a module by yourself. So it's more like you are creating a new Notion module, like what we have here, or you are creating a new iterator, or you are creating a new Gmail. You can do these things by yourself without having them to have the native internal module already created on Notion. So basically that's what we're going to talk about today. And the way we do this, as usual, I put together this resource guide and we follow this together, because even I personally I get to skip some things sometimes. So I believe that we have all these things together, and as you're following along with this, you should understand this in details with every single thing we have here. So if you have been facing issues all this while when it comes to having to connect a particular app or a particular service and you can't find them on make.com, an example can be, let's assume you want to connect let's see which app can we use now. Let's see, this here. Wow, okay, it is here. Let's see if there's something like this. Okay, sorry, there's one here. Now we need to look for which app can we look for. Okay. This doesn't exist, so let's see. Rick and Modi, the same thing I searched for yesterday. Okay, well, nothing like that exists, so that's where we use the HTTP app. And well, according to them here, you can create an app and do all this. You don't need to go that far. You could just use this, and this is what we call our universal connector. So what this does, over the last couple of days, I've been talking about the HTTP module. I first started with APIs, then I introduced you to the HTTP module, and we played around it a bit. I remember we even played with this fake users, even the one for random dog images, and the public address. And I told you guys to check on this is and Gemini as well. This is not your Google Gemini, this is a separate Gemini. So well, I remember telling you guys to check on that. It's actually very interesting when you know that though it might be possible for there to be a service that make.com doesn't have that particular native integration there already, or the native module there already, and it can also be for anything. The same thing applies to anything. It doesn't mean that because I believe that anything has the lesser amount of native modules. How many native modules, nodes does anything have compared to make.com and Zapier? So what we see here is that anything has just 400. So this is one of the reasons why we got to understand that anything is more developer friendly. It has most of the most common native apps there, or nodes as they call it here, and the rest will have to be handled by probably someone that is familiar with things like this. And this is why I decided on explaining more about creating your own nodes or your own module by yourself. And this is why I believe that you need this. When you come to a situation like this, though Zapier might have a lot now, and anything is less, and make.com is less, I told you that these platforms are just different. They're just with different UI. In a very general sense, they are more or less the same. You're just using, you're using a no-code visual to build something. That is just basically what it is. But if you want to build something else, you might have to request, or you might have to go for HTTP module or HTTP request. And this is basically what anything has here, and also make.com. However, on Zapier, you can see you could only go for these options: webhooks, which we know about already, or the developer platform. And honestly, now you can see why I keep saying I prefer this one right in the middle, because it does what this can do and what this doesn't have as well. So though this has taken a lot of stress off our shoulders, I still believe that there are some things that are still not found in Zapier as well. So what we are talking about today is basically breaking every single thing down. I have a better example now compared to yesterday when we were trying to make a couple of examples, but we're not able to bring something else. So I have a better example today, and this is the HTTP module. Me explaining every single field. Though I've explained it as well yesterday, but I believe there are still some things. Let's don't save. Let's create a new scenario for ourselves. So I will explain every single thing, breaking it down with examples, and we create a new scenario. This is basically what we do. So we're going to check all this out and just talk about it in the simplest manner. Though we've done that, I believe there are some people watching this for the first time, and I would just explain right over again. So what we have in every HTTP module is these are the steps. So just click on make a request, which is what we have here. So what we have here for this URL is the full endpoint URL. I told you that there is something we call a base URL and there is an endpoint URL. A base URL, the best example I can use to tell you now is this. When you look at my site, when you look at where I am currently, I'm on Notion, right? What you see here is an example of a base URL. However, when it comes to APIs, this is just the difference. We're just changing this to I. So this is the difference when it comes to API. This is the base URL for Notion. And the same thing applies to other platforms out there like Airtable, like HubSpot and various other platforms. So far, if there's any platform out there, you can just assume the fact that they have probably a public or a private API. They would definitely have that. So you should just you can, I won't say you should assume that they do have that, but I have that in the previous class. So I had a list which I put out there for Airtable, for Notion, and for various other platforms. So what I do have here is an example of a base URL, and whatever comes after is an example of what we call an endpoint URL. So a base URL is for this service, for Notion, this is where it is. No one else using Notion, using their services as this exact thing I do have. They don't have it and they can't have it. Because if they do, we'll be sharing the same page. But you can see that only I can access this page unless I share this with you. That is an example of an endpoint. Now you need to understand that when it comes to accessing this, is because I have this account. I have this account open. I have a profile and I have this account open. I'm logged into my account. That's why I have the access to getting this page. That's why I can view this page. The only way anyone else can view this is if I share this and I make it a public endpoint. If I make it a public endpoint, you still won't be able to have access to other things. So I gave a very good example yesterday where I used this as an example, not yesterday, about 2 days ago, where I used it as an example, and we're asking for this. You are the customer, or you are make.com, or you are your web browser. In this case now, I am my web browser, right? So what I'm doing here is I'm requesting for this. So since I have access, I have VIP access to my account. I ask the API to give me access to my account. I want to view this particular page, and that's based on the menu. So the menu is just literally showing me all the pages I have access to. So this API then tells the kitchen, which is the server or the database, it tells the kitchen that, okay, this person needs this. Yes, is this person a VIP customer or not? Is a VIP customer, is the owner of his account, basically. Alright, we're going to give him back that thing. And they are giving me this. So the other example I can give is, once I share this particular page to you and I make it public, if I make it public and I publish it, what is happening at that moment is very simple. I am literally just making you, in your own computer, in your own PC, or whichever, probably your phone, anywhere you used to view this, you are the customer and you ask for this, you request for this. Now, the API is going to return it as well to you because it is public. the kitchen gets to understand that I, as a VIP, have given others access to my card, or probably to my status. I've given other people access, and because of that, they can also view this based on the access level I give them. The access level I give you is just to view. I could give others access level. An example, I have two people added here. I can give them access level and basically tell them you have full access to this. They have several access level I could give them. So if you see this, I have Daniel added to this page, right? I have my other account added to this page as well. So when you see this, you understand that there are also several user access. You can see full access, and can edit, can comment, can just view. Can view is more or less the same as what we can do here. So if I do publish this page now, I could tell you can duplicate it as a template as well. This is one of the features. This is one of the features that Notion has that is peculiar to them. So what this is basically saying you have access to view this and also take it home as well and duplicate it. So you have a way to take it home and make it your own as well. So that is just a very simple way to explain all these things. Now, to be specific on what other things these are all about, the get is basically you the get is you asking for something. You are trying to search for something. You are trying to request for something to know if it's available. That is the get. So the get is what we are basically doing here. We are asking for something, and it's going to return it back to us. That is what we are asking. When it comes to the post is rather than you asking, you are telling it, I want to add this to it. So when it comes to post, you need to have a certain level of access to be able to post. That means when we use this same analogy that we've been using all this while, you are telling them, you know what, I have this recipe and I want you to save the recipe in the kitchen. I want you to add it to part of the menu and give me this, or make it accessible to others as well. That is what the post is doing. So that is the simplest way I can explain that as well. There are various others. I explained all this in my previous video, so you need to check it. You just have to just check it basically. So the headers are where you put your key value authentication and metadata. This here is for authentication. This here is to know if you actually have access to it or not. This is basically knowing if you have access to it or not. An example here is that before you have access to this page that I do have, if you want to have access to my entire account, you need my password and my username, or you need a token that gives you access to this. We've been using tokens all this while, where if you want to have access to token, I believe you do remember you have notion.so or .com/my-integrations. This is where you get to create token. This is your own developer dashboard where you get to create token and give certain access to each key. Give them certain access, like what I do have here. I have the lead tracker, which we'll be using all this while, and you can see the access token. Without this, no one can have access to it. So if I don't give you this key, if I don't make it open to you guys to see it, you can't have access to it, and you can't have access to the content it does have access to as well. An example of what I have here is this. To give it access, you need to connect this, and there's no connection made. So when it comes to I'm using Notion as the main reference since we're familiar with it now, as the fact that you need this every single time. And how do you get this? You can add an header and input your data into input your information. The other way you could do this, I believe you could do this, you could leave this plain and have this authentication type. It's currently with no authentication. The previous day on day 26, we were able to access some documents or some things that were made public without authentication. Well, in this case, if you want to have access to Notion, you need an API key, and you need to create a chain. That chain will require a key. This key is exactly what we have here. This is what we just want to add. This is the access token, and there are several ways you can use an access token right inside of several ways you can use it. There is the bearer token and there's the API key as well. So there are several ways. All these are just explaining and breaking down what exactly this is all about, or what the universal connector can do. And I think I've gone far already, so let me just come back here. So there are ways you can connect to this. There are several ways you can connect to it. The examples are what I give here. So when you do this, you are literally saving your keychain. You are saving it into what you have here on make.com, so you can reuse it anytime. So you don't have to manually put in the details here for the header of the parameters or the query parameters. You can just save it here, give it a name. Same way you save your Notion. You do remember we have Notion here, right? And anytime we want to add a new module, we don't need to create a new key. We don't need to create a new key every time. For this search object, for example, you can see we have a connection already made. That is your keychain. You saved it. So we could have more keychains here. We could add more for different other connections or different other pages, like what we do have here, where I have different other connections here that I've made in the past. I've actually done a lot. Anyway, what we have here, depends on the type, public or internal. This is just this is particular to Notion. But what we do have here, if you understand now, is that you could also do the same thing. You could save it down so you could have access to it anytime you want to work on any other HTTP module. Now, this is also the same for anything. I do remember I said I was going to make a video on anything. All I'm going to do is just to show you around in later videos, but I'm not going to build much on it, because I believe that the same knowledge you use on make.com, as I've always said, is the same knowledge you also use on anything. Just that anything has lesser nodes, so you have to do a lot of stress, which could have saved you on make.com, but you have to build them here afresh. And anything does have some things that makes it interesting for that even make.com doesn't. Just as a little bit of few nodes that I've seen, like tools that you could use. The same way Zapier doesn't have the error handlers, the error handling directives, doesn't have the break, or we call it retry now, doesn't have this break, retry, or all these things. So Zapier doesn't have all this, right? So but make.com does. It's also the same way anything has more tools. There are some things that are that would aid some of the things you are working on, and make.com doesn't have. It's just a few. To be very honest, I feel like it's just a few, and there's still a way to work around all those on make.com. You could still do something that does the same function as well on make.com. So to explain more on that, we have a query string, which is the URL parameter after the question. Now we do have this often. I've shown you guys this a lot. For those who have been following most of our you can see this right after the question mark here. We have a couple of things right there. That is our query string, and the body type is how you are sending this data. Are you sending this? When it comes to the methods that you use, could also determine if you actually need a body type. What I mean here is that if you need a body type here, we're using, let's go on no authentication now. So if you are using a get, you don't need to add a body type. You can just leave it empty. Just leave everything like that. All you need to do is just your URL and the method, which is get, right? And just save. That is all you need for get, right? However, when it comes to posts, when it comes to orders, you do need a body type. You do need to pick them out. An example of what we have here is raw JSON post. If you need to change this to any other one, probably post or patch or put, you need to add a body type, body content type rather, where you can now choose what kind of output. You enter the data in a particular format, and you will get the output in a certain format as well. So what I have here is, now you can see on make.com what they have. I think I've mentioned this in the past as well. Make.com make it easier for you to understand things. I believe after watching this video and the previous videos and subsequent videos as well, you would understand a couple of things right from the information I pass across and what make.com shows you by themselves. Now what we see here enter data in JSON format. Very obvious now what you are meant to do. As a string or using a data structure. To pop out the data structure here, you could also use as a string as well, where you have what? A JSON string. As simple as that. And we've seen examples of how a JSON string actually looks like. Let me see. This is an example. This is a very small example on how it looks like. So you could see what is actually possible. This is what I put here. None used for get and delete requests. You don't need a body. But this is what you can add here. This you can add it there. As simple as this. So when you add this there, you get to know what kind of data you are trying to use in this case. So this is the raw version. There are orders as well. There's a data structure where it's basically the same thing. This data structure is like, based on the name, is a structure that they've put in place, like almost in no code way, where you can just add something will pop out here, and you can add the things you want to add here, give it a name, and it's going to give you, in that field. An example of what this is that it's going to, if what we're trying to do here is what we've been doing all this while. Let me just bring an example so you get to understand what I'm trying to say. If what we have here, let's use empty and let's use a get, and we're going to use what we used initially for fake users, right? We're using this is this. So in this case, when you use this, let's save this. Let's remove this because we don't need this. I just use it for an example, right? So what you are going to do here is, let's see, do we have something we've not saved? Okay, you don't need all this stuff yet. So let's run Moji, right? So once we run this, you can see that we're having a data or a set of data coming in. These are fake users. And when you see what we have here, everything has a field and is structured. Address has a couple of things right under. The location also have the latitude and longitude, right? The company, even the phone number and their website. So these websites are not actually active. These websites are not, they are fake users. Pretty obvious, right? So yeah, this is an example. Now with this structure, you could imagine when you want to post, you are not trying to get something now. You want to post it. You need to have a structure. How this content body looks like, where every single one has ID is 2. That's the second user. This is the first user. A second user is name this, username this, email this. That structure, you're trying to build it for where you want to post or where you want to send something to. So in this case, you want to use a post, right? And obviously you need a connection of some sort or anything. Let's keep that. Let's assume you've made your connection, right? We're going to use an example. So moving forward, and if you have saved the keychain, you might not need to fill this in anymore. That's what you need to know. And body content type here could be this. Now when you pick this, the data structure here is basically what I've been trying to say, that when you create this, you are literally giving it what? You are saying this is the name, this is name, and the data is probably a text. That means it's a string, obviously. And what we have here, you don't need to fill this actually. All these are required. It depends on what you are trying to post in and all. So the description might be anything. Let's say this description is I can actually leave this. I can skip this. The required things I need to do is the name and the type as well. So, and I could also add more. So what I want next is now the ID. This ID. So I'm literally giving it a structure of whatever is going to bring in. The ID is also if we can give it a number, that is, probably 1 or 2 or 3 like that. You can also make it required, but doesn't matter. I don't think I've made anyone required before. Another thing is their phone number, right? Phone number. So what do you do in this case? You use a number. That is basically what this is. You want to post this time around. You're not trying to get. You're not trying to receive something. You're not trying to ask for something. You're trying to post something. You need to give it a structure. That is what a data structure is basically doing. Now, rather than a data structure, if you just want to use a JSON string directly, you could just what? Do the same thing. It is literally the same thing. It's just you are giving this a structure and it looks better for people that are not really developers, right? But at one point, when you are working on make.com and every other AI platforms, I believe you will love to use this more because it makes you feel like a developer. It makes you feel like you are doing something big, right? I mean, that was how I felt. So what we have here is an example of what I've been saying, where we have the next one that comes after it is what I have this in, and I call it ID, right? ID and this, and I give it something which I put as let's say I tell you this time around that what I want is there was email, right? What I want is the ID, the first ID. As simple as this, honestly. So when you have something like this is an example of having what? A JSON string. Just an example. So showing you that this is also the same thing as what? This. They are both the same thing. They are actually the same thing. So the next thing I'm going to explain now about is so this, what I just showed you, is you could also do the same thing for what? Several other methods. So gets and deletes are the only ones that you don't need to add a body to, because you're trying to delete something. You're not trying to save something. You're not trying to post something. You're just requesting it to delete that particular thing. Probably you're trying to delete a particular page. You're trying to delete a particular page on Notion, and you choose a delete. You don't need a body. You just what? Choose a delete. You don't need this authentication. Wait, sorry. You do need this authentication, because you need to have access to your Notion account before you can even delete anything. So the next example I'm going to use is the Parse Response. So this auto parse JSON into the module. I mean, we have been familiar with how we've been working on make.com all this while. This itself is a JSON. If I copy this, you see what happens here. Can you see this? Let's just paste this here. So you need to know that every single thing you've been interacting with on make.com has actually been this way. They're actually JSON formats, every single one of them, and it's as short as this. It's very, very, very short. You just need to be able to understand how make.com actually builds their own. There's something interesting I'm going to talk about in the future, and I basically have a lot of interesting things I'm cooking up to explain on this, and it's going to make it easier for us to get around all this and build these things by ourselves. You can build something like this by yourself. I believe it's more like a shortcut, and I mean it's just going to be very interesting. I believe I should do that in a couple of days. I should just have that done, and I'm going to make a video. It's actually going to take long because it requires me to spend time on it, but once I'm done, I'm just going to give it out to you guys, so you guys get to just use it anytime you want. It makes it easier for you to build something like this and just have it pasted here immediately. And you can choose anyone. You can probably choose from Notion. You can choose for any app out there. And if there's anyone that doesn't have a native module on make.com, you could tell it to give you an HTTP with everything set up already. Aside from the only thing that you need to do every single time we're going to build that is just having to connect whatever you want to connect to it. Probably you want to add your Notion account, you want to add anything you want to add to it, you want to add your API key. All these things are the only things you need to do. So anyway, that's going to be for another content, right? I'm going to make that specially for you guys. And what do we have next? So we do have the timeout. That's the seconds to wait before giving up, and it's on a default on make.com, or generally it's on a default for 40 seconds, and you can only change for slow systems. So this is just you saying how long does it take to load to work around this, or else it just stops whatever it's trying to ask for. It just uses 40 seconds basically. So that is that about that. I've explained about the body type as well, that you can only get to use this in a case that is aside get and delete, right? So there are also other types when it comes to whatever form we want this in. What I mean is, though I believe that we do have this, we have post, we have patch, we have put, the body type can not just be in strings, numbers, and all these things. We did learn this in, was that Java? Oh my god, I'm already forgetting. I'm already forgetting now, but I believe we learned this, all these strings and all these things. That was JavaScript, right? Yeah, I believe that was JavaScript. Anyway, what I'm trying to say now is that this can post text, right? Text, numbers, and various other things. You can post them. Let me show you every single thing you can post when it comes to the body. I mean, we have them here, so why don't we just explain using this? So the type and the type of things you can post, you can have them in an array. You're having an array, that means you have other things inside that you want to what? It's me basically saying what this is now. Let me open this. You know what an array is for those that have been following us for a long time. This itself is a bundle, right? This is a bundle. Whatever we have is a bundle. If we had new item, that's 2 bundles, that's already an array. If we have another item, that's 3 bundles, that's already what? An array as well, with 3 bundles inside. Now you could imagine having an array inside one bundle as well. We've been interacting with this, but you've just not been seeing it this way, because the method we have been seeing it has always been what make.com has made ready for us. In most cases, when we use this search object, it returns a couple of bundles in form of an array. The form we have been seeing it has always been user-friendly or visual-friendly, whichever we will call it. And that's why you've not been concerned about how this is structured and how this is sent to you. But now we need to be concerned about it. So what we have here, once again, let's just go back and explain every single one of them. Let me use this, and let's use data structures, for example. So what we have here, you could change the type to an array. That means you are having what? An array inside a bundle. That's what you're having. And you could also what? You could create multiple things inside of it. You could see, you could even still create another array inside. And that is where what you keep creating more, or whatever you want to create. So you can see, I mean, this is actually very interesting when you think about it. This is a collection as well. So this also what can give you more of this. This works almost like the way an array does. So and the next one is date. I mean, very obvious now, just the date. That's the type. That's the type it brings out. All these things that we've been talking about here, Boolean, number, text, binary data, and all these things are similar to what we already have on make.com. When you see the properties we've been interacting with, every single thing we've been interacting with, when you see them, you see that we do have, let's see, okay, how would I do this? Okay, so you see that we do have, sorry, I was checking my notifications just now. So we have a couple of properties as well, and you could add a new property where you get to pick, let's see, you get to pick the type. These types are exactly what we are seeing here as well. So they are very similar. The way the internet works, the way this software, these services work, you know that all these things are built up with code. So all these are things that you need to know, that behind everything is not just, they didn't just bring designs and added all these things like designs. No, all these things were there as codes. They were built up as codes, and when they use certain languages, or when they use certain programming languages and the rest, they are able to show you in a visual format that looks understandable and easier. That is basically what they did. So all these things are just types of properties as well. Now the other one I'm going to show you, aside from this, what we are getting here is what in a JSON request format. Now there's another format we could also do, which rather than text, just like text, let me say text, because we could still consider the date and the rest as part of text, right? An array has a multiple text inside, collections, everything. We want to upload media like images. We want to upload videos, images, we want to upload audios as well. When we want to do that, we choose this instead. This is the body type. Now in this case, what we can now add a file. You can see, you can also still add a text as well. You can add a file inside. Now whatever the file is, you map it here and give it a file name. That data that you're mapping here, you need to be precise on what kind of data you are adding here. All these were not part of the plan for today, but I do believe I should just talk about it so you guys get to understand that there are various other things, other ways. In the future, I'm going to teach you a very easy way to actually build all these things without having to, see it as a very hard thing. It's not hard. It's not hard. Even I, when I was doing this, thought it was until I started getting familiar with it after building just a couple of things. So there's a custom one where you can just you can create what you want by yourself, and there's another one which is in form of URL. This is the examples that we have here now are like all these authentications and the rest, where you have the name and you need the value. What I mean here is that you could have an API key right inside here. You could have anything that just feels like this is beyond just a normal text. You need the value. You need to ensure you have something that is I think the word here is encoded. So every single thing here is just they're actually very simple to understand if you just see it as okay. I think I get the whole idea of all this, because we are going to build things, and there you're going to understand a couple of more things now. So we have pagination type and parse response. That's everything I explained here. Now what I'm going to show you, I think I did explain a little bit here. Parse response, yes, auto parse JSON into module. So always on for JSON APIs, yes. That's also what we do have here as well. So we have this here. That's the way you want this response to be given back to you, right? And you can see this offset base. There's just a couple of things that just feels like a lot, but I'm telling you, they are not a lot. We are going to use every single one of them. So what do we have next? What did I put here next? We are entering the phase where we get to build. So we are building now, and the first build we have literally done the first build, but we could do it again. And the first one is the get, where I did this, and I added this. I believe we've done this in the first introduction to what is API, right? That's day 26. We've done this already. Leave this as yes. Just get this, and when you run this, you're going to get a response back of fake users, and yeah, you have 10 users here, and you have the status code. If you do remember, status code 200 means successful or okay, whichever way you see it. So the next one, this is basically our build, and you can see that the output bundle, this is what comes out. User ID, title, body, status code 200, every single thing I've been explaining over and over is what you are going to see here. So you can see the status code, right? That's the ID, the name, username. All these things are just things that why I keep explaining it is so as to ensure you guys remember. You just remember. So our build one, we've actually done that, and yeah, let's remove this and let's save this. This is our build one. I should I should save this to, let's say, fake users for our lead form. We could actually use this. We could take this as a list of fake leads, or fake, I think just fake leads. We put fake users out. What the hell is that? Fake leads for our form. Yeah. Alright. So what we have here is still better than what I did there. So this is our first build. It's official now. If you're able to do that, you've done the basic and one of the most interesting things about using the HTTP module. And I'm happy for you. I'm happy for us, actually. I'm happy for us. So we can save this into a new folder. So let's start having all these things together. This is a layer 3 there are three where I believe I said we are talking about this from day 26 to 40. So we're using 15 days to break every single thing down. And we are in day 3 of layer 3. So yeah, we have this in place now. Let's save this, and let's see, we have fake leads for our form. You could use this for anything whatsoever. So what we have here is for this and this. We'll be doing any other movements later. So the next thing I'm going to explain, I should better just get it all going, is we've seen the outputs, we've seen the inputs and the output. This is module configuration. That's basically what we did. And the outputs, the way the bundle was passed back to us. Then the next one is our second build. This one requires us to do more. We actually need to do more. And this is the input. This is what you're going to do. So I have left every single thing there for you to do. And it's very easy for you to pick it up and walk around it as well. So these are the only things I'm telling you to do now. You want to post. What I'm going to do now is I'm going to show you how to walk around it as well. So you create a new scenario, and okay, and you do every single thing I added here, just put it there. This is the main thing that I might have to copy, because I believe I've done the rest. So HTTP and make a request, and okay, I think I clicked on the button by mistake, and okay, so we have that in now. Let's bring it to the side, and we have a body. Let's use this, and let's use this JSON string, and yeah, built with make.com, my automation post. This is almost like you're posting on a social media platform. That is what this is showing. And the next thing we want to add, let's add this there. Let's add this as well, and I will choose the method to be post. So I saw this and I figured it might probably be possible for us to do this. So this doesn't require any authentication at all. That is why we can still do this post. So let's just try it out and let's see what's up. Is there anything we're missing? We have this. We have the body type chosen as well, and that's this. And we have this chosen as well, and the Parse Response is on, which is the yes, is on. So you could leave it just like this. You could leave it like this, and I think that's everything. Authentication type must not be empty. Okay, I do remember whenever we're using post, our authentication type must not be empty, right? Okay. So what we just do here is very simple. Just leave it as no authentication. There's a very big difference between leaving it as empty without anything and doing this, just clicking on this. There's a very big difference. So just leave it as no authentication and save. Then let's run this. So you see, we've been able to post something somewhere, and what we posted was this, and this is the data we're going to receive. You can see this is the data we actually receive with the status code 201. If you do remember what this status code means, let's go right in. This status code means it was created, a record was created. Remember, I keep mentioning that our post means we are putting something out there, we are creating something. That is why we have this. So we have our 201. Rather than okay, we have a good connection, we're able to get something, a response in. That is okay. But if you have to post and create something, which is basically using the method post, it's going to show 201. So you can see that we're already building something, and the header we have, you can see this. With the date, it gave us a date, it gave us every single thing. How did it give us all these things? It's based on the data that we have. The data that we gave it, every single thing just brought this out for us. Because we, when I say allegedly now, made a post. We made a post somewhere on the internet. Let's see if we can have our link. Can we have a link? Okay, this. Reports to group. we don't have a link where we can just view anything. Location post, let's try this out. So let's put this over here. Let's remove this and paste this here. I doubt we're going to see anything. You see, everything is blank. It's blank because we are not doing this right here. You know what we're going to do? Let's try this instead. Let's copy this and paste this here. But the thing is that we have everything about make.com here as well, which is very annoying, and it might require us to start deleting a couple of things out. Let's see. Okay, so this is a lot, so we're going to skip this since we have a couple of things to explain. So that is a simple way of making a post. So we've done that as well. Let's save this. Let's say we just made a fake post, alleged. What's the spelling of alleged again? I don't know. I believe I'm typing allergy. Let's just use a fake post. I don't want to destroy my reputation of having to forget. I believe everyone forgets things, so that's fine. Fake post on yes, fake post as a user. Yes, so that's what we did here. Fake post as a user. So we save this, and we don't want to have this running every single time. So that's why we're not using any scheduling option here. So we have this saved as well. That is the second one saved. Now we are going to create our third build. This one is more interesting because this one requires us to authenticate this post. Now what we are going to do is we need to go to that Notion integration site. So you go to your own as well. Something like this, have something like this in place. And what you are going to do is you create a new integration, basically what I've done already. Open your database, click add connection, find your integration, copy the. I've shown you guys in the past how to do all this, but for those that are just probably are watching this for the first time, you create a new connection. You're going to tell it access token, so it gives you a key of some sort. And once you do that, you have to give it a name. You create a connection to just direct you here. Right after doing that, create a connection to direct you here. And yeah, you have your connection created, and it's going to give you an access token. So right after that, whichever page you want this to be on, in our case we're having it to be on this lead tracker. I think we should change that. Let's add it to this particular page. That's day 28, right? So we want to add this here, and we're going to, okay, we have it on day 24 as well. We're going to add this on day 28. Okay, I need to edit access, sorry. That's what I should have clicked on. Day 28, and you see this here, make.com's universal connector. So you see, we could add this and save. Okay. So we have this now. We've literally done our connection. So what you do is you go here to your module. Also what HTTP, make a request, and follow what I have here. Just follow this to integrate all these things here. So what you are going to do is you're going to copy this URL. We have to add an authentication there as well. We are doing that soon. And what method? We are using the post method. That's post. And authorization is bearer token and all these things. I believe this should be we should be able to work around this very soon. So let's just bring this. I believe you guys are understanding this better now. Let's use JSON. Then we pick the JSON string. Then we had this as the body. Then let's see. So whatever you have here, I mean this name, email, output, every single thing here. What we are doing here basically is that we're trying to create a new page coming, or no, sorry, this is for lead tier, right? We're trying to create, oh, okay, this is connected to our database. Sorry, I remember setting this up to be connected to our database, but I was thinking we should just add it into a page here instead. It still works, you can still do it. So, and the output we receive is something like this. I am making a little bit of I'm making some changes here now, and or should I just go on with what you guys are familiar with? Let's use this instead then. Okay, so we have the name as the title, then we have all this as well. So let's just go right here and give it a name. The name of this person should be let's use, I've used Daniel too much. I believe I should use someone else. Let's use someone very dear to me as well. So let's use this person, or you can say this, sorry. Let's use this, Sayomi, and let's use an email. I'm not going to give an email. I'm going to use my email. So, and the next one, the lead tier we're going to use here is what lead tiers do we have here? We have one auth code, whatever. So let's use auth. We have this. Though we are missing some properties. If you look at this, you notice we're actually missing some properties. What I mean here is that we are missing a couple of other things. So with this actually sent, you can only figure out with this. So yeah, let's see what happens. Then the next one is we need to connect our database ID. What I'm saying here is you need this database ID. How do you get this database ID? From here. Right from here, my brother. Right from here. So you add this there. And the next, that's the database ID, right? What else are we missing? We have this already on, Parse Response on. You don't need to do this if you can make your authentication right from here. So the authentication side is like authorization. This is the header. So what you pick here instead, though we could still be able to work around this, we could still do this. That's one thing you need to know. But we could also save them right from here as well. So we could say there's an API key, you create a chain, and you give it a name. Let's just call it Sayomi test. And the key, okay. I hope you guys cannot see these keys I'm showing here, right? Because there are a couple of keys I have here already. And let's see. Alright, configuration, then we copy this. You guys are probably going to see this access key. I might have to revoke this after. But I do trust you guys. You guys are not going to tamper with it. So let's leave it for you guys. You can show, you can do this. Alright, you guys still didn't see the key. But I mean, should I? Let's try anything. So yes, in the header is authorization. All these are what we've seen here. Can you see this? Authorization. You can see this. So this is a better way or a faster way to actually work around this. We create. So we've created that, and it gets added. So let's try that. Let's see if we need to actually input this manually or not. So we have this saved. This is also a post, and let's see the output we're going to get from it. So let's see if it's going to actually give us or tell us to fill in the other things there. And so this is going to take us. This can only go through about 40 seconds. If it spends longer, so we have unauthorized. As you can see here, API token is invalid. Okay. Request ID is this, blah blah blah. Origin HTTP. Let's see. So use a valid Notion token in the credential field. Check that the token still has Notion access. It does, right? we do have access to that. This, based on what it says here now, is unauthorized, so authorization token, right? This is valid token, the credential field. Wow, this is surprising because we do have this connected here. We do have this connected here. I mean, we have this live. Wherever we have here is live. So when it says this, run this module again. Yes, it does. Let's see what's up. Let's just break this down and see what's up. And if maybe we need to, we could also duplicate the same thing that we have here. So what I mean here is that you could go right here and let's see what will happen here instead. Authorization, you use this as authorization, and the value, which is the key, you use this as well. Let's see what happens there. This time around you guys will see my key. So alright, let's see what happens though. Let's do that by no authentication. Let's see. So we're going to try multiple steps here now and save, and we're going to try this again. So this is going to give us an error. Actually, it's going to give us an error. Bad request. That means these are the things I've been explaining to you guys. That this means that the format, the way we are asking, is bad. That is the bad request. That is error 400. The way we are asking is not actually how we're meant to be asking. There's a better way to ask for this. So let's try the better way, right? Let's see. There's a better way to ask for this, right? So we tell it actually there's an authentication. So let's see. Credentials must be okay, shy of me. Well, I do believe that. I believe we need to check this and see. We have bearer token. It said enter the full API, including any required prefix, if specified in the API document. You know what we're going to do? For the API documents, I'm going to have yes. So what you guys are going to notice is that I actually made this. I had to take a little bit of time to reason around it, and I realized that when you want to make there was something I actually missed out there, and you can see that this is actually this went through. This went through. What we see here, see everything went through. Let's see if we do have it here. Though we are going to make another one, right? We have Xiaomi. You see, it went through. There was something I forgot to add, and that's because most of the time I will be very honest, I've been lazy around that lately. There's something we forgot to add, which is this. Now you can see we have a different one from Xiaomi. I'm going to create another Xiaomi right now. And what made it fail the other time was this. Just a very simple thing. I did this and I added this key, right? Let me add the key once again. I added this key right here, right? And what I forgot to miss out, let me say Xiaomi 2, and this is correct. Every single thing is correct. So just know whatever you have here is correct. However, there's one more thing you're missing. This is our key. You leave a space, move forward, and add bearer. This is actually the thing that was missing. So if you look at this, they've told us clearly as well, enter the full API key, including any required prefix if specified in the API documentation. So when we look into what Notion have, Notion API documentation, blah blah blah. Notion made it clear themselves whenever we want to use these things. So this was what I missed out, and use authorization. You could actually still find a couple of things here. Find a couple of things. Nah, they've not specified that here. So let's see. Let's look into this. Let's look into this. You can see this authorization, the bearer, and the integration token. So this was what we missed out. This was just what we missed out. And once you have this here this way, you can just create. I'm going to create now, and we have Xiaomi 2. So this is Xiaomi into, right? And the next thing we're going to do is let us say, yes, this header, I also missed this out. You need to know that before this is going to work very well, you need to add the version. And you do remember I actually mentioned this as well. This is one of the reasons why you have every single thing you want in place here. I missed this out by not mentioning, I did not mention the Notion version. And that's because I forgot to even add this here. Okay, I did add it and I forgot to include it. So this is what we missed. But in real time, this is not the Notion version now. The Notion version is this. These are our Notion version now. That one, it was the old one. So this is our new Notion version. And yeah, it's as simple as that. You had a Notion version at the header. This header is your authorization, which I told you it's possible for you to have it already saved here in credentials. So you can use it multiple times without having to manually put it in header every time. So you could also do the same thing here as authorization and the key and have another header. But to make this easy for us, we just save it in credentials, and we had only our Notion version here. So in any case where you don't want it saved, you could have just gone for the header and had it here. You can still add authorization here and your token key, bearer and token key as well. So for you to this is what made it fail the other time, and we have this saved. We can run this again. Let's change the value a bit. So we had Xiaomi, right? We have Xiaomi 2 now this time around. Xiaomi 2, and we have let's use jude@gmail.com. Let's say Jude @gmail.com, and we also call him Ot. He's a very hot guy. That guy is a very hot guy. And we save this, and then we start this. So what you are going to see here is what you can see. It went through, and the data went through as well. We have it as 200 rather than the 401 or the 400 we're having. Everything was saved. So if you want to add more of the details here, you can see we have this just created. We have this created now. Xiaomi 2 with my name, with my email rather, and this. You could also have the rest as well, but you need to ensure that the properties are working exactly like the JSON string has this property exactly what it's meant to be. So you could see all these are empty because we did not include that, but what we included was the name, the email, and the lead tier as well. And we have every single thing in place. That is how to make your connection, brothers and sisters. And this was the output bundle. Yeah, obviously you already got that. Thanks Jude. So anyway, this is how to map nested JSON response. So what we see here this time around is whatever field, if you want to map this to something else, you probably want to map this into let me say we need a Notion update or something, update data source item. It is the same thing. It's more or less the same thing. This also have access. I'm just doing this real quick for you guys to see. You could still map every single thing here. Let's do leads, and we take this, then it takes us down, create more. So you could still map. You could, if in any case you want to in any case what you actually wanted to do rather than post is to get, when you get, you update or something or anything. So in this case, you can see we can still map the name. Every single thing is here. So though this is not an internal or a native module, you can still do every single thing. You can see we have the page, we have a couple of things here, and it's almost the same as when we're using our normal Notion account, though there are still some things that is not added here. These are data source ID. You can see every single thing is actually added there. Let's look for properties. This is what we're looking for. And where is the name? And we have the name and the title, Xiaomi 2. That is what we want to map there. And the other one we map here as well is we could just take this, and our lead tier is select, then auth. What you see here is literally the same. So we literally built a new Notion, and I can give this a name, let me call this a name. Give this a Notion clone. All right, so we have that there, Notion clone, and yeah, this is based on mapping. You could just map it, simple. So the next thing is authentication patterns, which was what this was a mistake that we forgot to do. This was one of it, the bearer and every single thing here. So this is for bearer token. This is the most common, basically what we just did, right? So this is another way it looks like. Rather than authorization, there's another way where you might just have to put x-API-key. It's basically saying it can be anything. A couple of services use this. This is most common by most services. Some services use this as well, and some also. This is not really, but well, some still use that as well. And the fourth pattern is the basic authentication. That's the username and password. I told you I used this when I was creating my WordPress blog a couple of years ago. However, it's not safe. It's not too safe. So I would based on how I set it up, it was not safe. And yeah, it's better to have something like this rather than this, to me, based on what I was building then, because anyone that had access to that could, just come in and spoil everything or destroy everything. So when we are replacing your Notion native module with the HTTP module, what we literally did here, so we replaced, let's delete this, we replaced this, Notion creates a database item. We replaced this guy with this guy. That was what we did. We literally gave him a replacement, and this guy looks colorful, though I still prefer this color though. Anyway, that was what we did, and this is exactly what we used to replace it. This and the authorization and bearer token, right? And the version. Why did I use the wrong version? Why did I keep using the wrong version? I should work on this. I think I already saved it somewhere up there. Jesus Christ. Okay, yes, I have this here now. I used the wrong version. So yeah, we have this. Alright, thank you. So JSON body with parent and properties, what they mean here is just basically, yeah, this is the body, JSON string, blah blah blah. So rather than this, next time if you feel like this is a lot to set up, you could just might as well just use your data structure. And yeah, so that is everything for today, and I hope you guys had fun. My hands are aching. I hope you guys had fun and also played around with this as well. You can also test them. Every single thing I explained here, test them. You look at the mistakes we made along the way and also correct as well. And if you enjoyed this video, remember this is part of the 60 days series where we talk about the 5 layers of AI, and we are on layer 3, so we have 2 layers to go right after this. We're on layer 3, so we just started layer 3, and it's fun because now we get to build things that are beyond what make.com has natively. So they made this available, and we get to build some interesting things, and we make a lot of mistakes, and yeah, so these 5 layers of AI is the entire thing you need to know, from beginner's level to building agentic AIs and to build agentic systems, and we are halfway there. We are almost there, and I believe that all these things are things that once you get to know them very well, you will be able to build systems that are very strong in that layer. So for now, stay stuck to this channel or this account or this profile, whichever way you can. Subscribe, follow, anything, because honestly, once again, I don't ask for I I don't ask for emails, I don't ask for anything. This is a way to teach others what I know as well. I mean, I'm also still learning too. I still made a couple of mistakes too. But I believe that this is a way to still teach others, let them understand that there's an easier way to learn how to use AI, because I believe it's not just about now. It's not just about this is not a getting rich stuff. I mean, you spending 2 months on these videos or this channel or this account and getting to understand how to do this is a commitment on its own. I believe that if you can do this, you are going to be above a couple of, like, not just a couple, you're going to be above not just 99%, 99.9999% of people out there, because a lot of people, all they know to do is just to prompt ChatGPT or probably Claude, and they are paying, and some people are building. But this, the knowledge you get from this is the foundation level, where you get to understand that there are more to this. There are more to just chatting with your AI, and this will give you a leverage where wherever you want to work, this is something a vibe coder probably doesn't even understand, because there are a couple of things that they will still need help for. But understanding just the basic thing from all this will give you this leverage, where when you see something break, when you see something that needs to be done, when you have a solution to a problem, you get to solve this easier. Now in this case, now what we've explained all this while, if a client doesn't, probably is trying to do something, and it looks impossible on make.com or even on anything, you could just bring up in a module like this, an HTTP module, or on anything you bring up an HTTP node, right? And you just build this thing up. It's very easy, and yeah. So all right, I'm glad to have you guys with me, and I want to see you guys post about your own on the community. So yeah, just post, comment, anything. And if you have any question, please don't forget to reach out. One thing I'm going to do is I'm going to make more videos today, because I figure out I'm behind, so I have to make more videos today. So right after this, I'm going to be making a video for the next day, but still doing that today. All right, see you guys.